Mthembu is giving a cabinet briefing following the State of the Nation address. Let's go there now live.
Africa Cooperation, FOCAC. On the quarterly employment statistics, Statistics South Africa released the quarterly employment survey for the first quarter of 2019 in the past week. The findings from these released outcomes show an increase of 22,000 jobs from 10,152 to 10,174 in the formal non-agricultural business sector. This was largely due to increases in the following industries: community services, mining and quarrying, manufacturing and business services. Total employment increased by 76,000 or 0.8% year-on-year between March 2018 and March 2019. Cabinet notes this favorable development but remains convinced that there is still a long way to go to improve the performance of all sectors of our economy and create the much-needed jobs in our country. To this end, Cabinet commits to work with all sectors of our South African society, including the private sector. The sixth point is on the tax season. The revenue generated from income tax ensures government has the capacity to provide much-needed services and social support to millions of less fortunate communities. Cabinet encourages South Africans to prepare their tax submissions for 2018-2019 tax season. Appropriate and efficient revenue collection enables government to ensure fiscal sovereignty. Taxpayers who are registered for e-filing or use the new South African Revenue Service MOBI app can file their income tax returns from the 1st of July 2019. South Africans who earn less than 500,000 per annum and meet certain other criteria do not need to file for tax returns. On crime fighting, Cabinet has noted with concern the spate of the killings of members from our law enforcement agencies, particularly our law enforcement officers. In September 2018, 28 members of the police service were reported to have been killed. Since the beginning of 2019, 26 police officers have been killed. The most recent cases being that of Sergeant Zephania Dladla, Constable Noma Sonto Mhlanga, and Constable Mtlamulo Vuyega. Cabinet extends its deepest condolences to their families, friends, and colleagues. Cabinet condemns in the strongest possible terms these attacks and killings of our police officers. Police officers risk their lives, at times even lives of their own families, to protect our communities. We all have to work together with law enforcement agencies to ensure that perpetrators of these heinous crimes are arrested and face the full might of the law. Cabinet commends the justice system that has resulted in 9 perpetrators of these crimes being handed life sentences in this year alone. On the Mozambique border shooting incident, Cabinet noted that the South African government has sent a high-level team to Mozambique following a shooting incident in which 2 Mozambican police officers died on the KwaZulu-Natal border. The team comprises members of the South African National Defence Force and the South African Police Service, and will meet with their counterparts in Mozambique. They are led by SANDF Chief of Joint Operations, Lieutenant General Bani Hlachwayo, and SAPS Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sihlahle Masemula. The team is on a fact-finding mission into the shooting incident. They are expected to, amongst others, discuss a joint investigation team between Mozambique and South Africa. Cabinet requests all South Africans to await the conclusion and outcomes of this joint investigation. We remain committed to work with the government of Mozambique as a good neighbor in improving the well-being of all our citizens. On the International Labour Organization Conference, Cabinet welcomes the participation of President Ramaphosa in the 108th centenary session of the International Labour Conference held between the 10th and the 21st of June 2019. The President formally submitted the report of the Global Commission on the Future of Work that he co-chaired with the Prime Minister of Sweden, His Excellency Stephen Löfven, to the conference. The Minister of Employment and Labour, Mr. Ngesi, accompanied the President and also led the tripartite delegation that participated in different committees of the conference and plenary discussions that discussed the report of the International Labour Organization's Director General. Important outcomes of the conference included a joint centenary declaration of the parties. In addition, the conference adopted a new convention on violence and harassment in the workplace designed to enhance the protection of vulnerable workers. These outcomes are important in setting international benchmarks and guidelines to raise and defend labor rights and standards. On decisions that Cabinet has taken, the 12th Extraordinary Summit, Cabinet was briefed on the 12th Extraordinary Summit to launch the operational phase of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the first mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union and the regional economic communities. President Ramaphosa is scheduled to lead the South African delegation when the 12th Extraordinary Summit is held on the 7th July 2019 in Niger. South Africa will take over the chairpersonship of the African Union at a seminal moment when the continent will be implementing the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which will make Africa the biggest common market in the world. The Free Trade Agreement will boost intra-Africa trade, reignite industrialization in the continent, and pave the way for the meaningful integration of Africa into global value chains and the global economy in general. South Africa remains committed to the African agenda and supports regional economic and political integration. This includes the strengthening of coordination between the AU Commission and the regional economic bodies to achieve sustainable development in a peaceful and stable Africa as envisaged in Agenda 2063. South Africa is fully committed to the African free trade process in view of its strategic importance in the economic integration agenda of the African continent and South Africa's developmental agenda. The second decision that Cabinet took, it was on the 2021 municipal elections. In preparation for the 2021 municipal elections, Cabinet approved the establishment of an inter-ministerial committee, IMC, on municipal elections, as well as technical forum for its support. The 2021 municipal elections will be the fifth such elections since the advent of democracy. The IMC, approved by Cabinet, will work with the Independent Electoral Commission and other relevant bodies towards ensuring that the process leading to the local government elections in 2021 unfolds with ease. Members of the IMC will comprise of the following ministers. Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister will chair the IMC. Also included in the IMC will be the Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Minister of Finance, Minister of State Security, and Minister in the Presidency. The technical support team will be the Directors General from the same departments. These are upcoming events that we are also briefing the nation about that involves Cabinet. The first one is the G20 Leaders Summit. President Ramaphosa, in fact, left yesterday to the G20 Leaders Summit, as he will lead the South African delegation comprising the Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Minister of Finance, Mr. Tito Mboweni, and Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Ibrahim Patel, will all participate in this G20 Leaders Summit. President Ramaphosa will also lead a delegation of officials and South African business executives in a roundtable discussion with leading Japanese business executives. The roundtable will aim to promote awareness of opportunities for trade and investment in South Africa, address concerns of potential Japanese business partners, and identify and develop potential trade and investment leads. The roundtable is being executed in partnership with the Business Council for International Understanding, a leading American international business foundation, and the Japanese External Trade Organization. The roundtable is viewed in tandem with a future event to take place on the margins of the Tokyo International Conference on Africa's Development, to be held on the 28th to the 30th of August 2019 in Yokohama, Japan. Japan is South Africa's 5th largest export partner and 9th largest import partner. South Africa's participation is guided by the following key pillars: advancing our national interest to attain domestic objectives, enhancing the African agenda and promoting Africa's sustainable development, influencing the global multilateral architecture, and advancing the agenda of the South through strengthening South-South cooperation and North-South dialogue. That's what will inform us as we attend the G20 Leaders Summit. On the Mandela Month that has started, as we approach the 10th anniversary of Nelson Mandela International Day in July, Cabinet calls on all South Africans to use the month to uphold the legacy of Madiba under the theme, Take Action, Inspire Change, Make Every Day a Mandela Day. By taking collective action against poverty, South Africans can participate in active citizenship by joining their communities and various organizations that will undertake initiatives to eradicate hunger and homelessness, build safer communities, and ensure that children have access to education. Let us all participate in this global initiative named after one of our iconic leaders and build sustainable programs that last beyond the month of July. Let us take action, inspire change, and make every day a Mandela Day. On messages that the Cabinet has extended to various bodies and groupings, the first one is a message of condolence. Cabinet sends its heartfelt condolences to all bereaved families and friends who lost their loved ones due to road carnages. From the accident on the R81 in Mapale, Limpopo, that saw many young lives lost, to the consistent road carnage being experienced by South Africans across the country. Cabinet appeals to all road users to obey the rules of the road, which requires vigilance and considerate behavior to other road users. Cabinet also commended the following: the women's national team, Banyana, for flying the flag high in their maiden FIFA Women's World Cup appearance. Mr. Botham Sila, a South African sports fan who has arrived in Egypt in time for the start of the opening of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. Mr. Msila, who mainly hitchhiked from Cape Town, was assisted by sports broadcaster Mr. Robert Marawa to secure a flight from Kenya to Cairo to support Bafana. As we all know, Mr. Msila had hitchhiked from Cape Town to Kenya. In fact, his intention, together with his companion, was to move from Cape Town to Cairo. But he had to be supported when he was in Kenya by Mr. Robert Marawa. We also want to thank him because there were also other tactical and security reasons that then came to the fore. South Africa, we also want Cabinet commends and congratulate South African singer and songwriter Miss Shoma Josie, who won the Best New International Act Award at the 2019 BET Awards in Los Angeles, the United States of America. Cabinet again congratulates a team of 6 South African undergraduate students from the University of Cape Town and the University of the Witwatersrand, who won first prize against 13 teams at the International Supercomputing Conference in Frankfurt, Germany. The team was under the supervision of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research Center for High Performance Computing, which is an initiative of the Department of Higher Education, Science and Technology, and is one of the 3 pillars of South Africa's cyber infrastructure system. Cabinet also congratulates the junior Springboks, whose fighting spirit led to them claiming the bronze medal at the World Rugby Under-20 Championships. Cabinet wishes the following all the best. The first wish of the Cabinet goes to the Bafana team in their 2019 African Nations Cup in Egypt. The second best wishes of the cabinet goes to the Proteas national netball team as they compete in the Netball World Cup taking place in Liverpool, England. Perhaps just to add, at times we don't even know diamonds and jewels that are in our midst. This netball team is number 1 in Africa. It is number 4 in the world. And we wish our ladies well. And in fact, we would like them to bring that World Cup back here to our country. Accompanying, of course, the team is our Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Mthembu, who's also there not only to support the team, but also to take the baton, because in 2022, as the country, we will be hosting the Netball World Cup. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. We will take questions. Lizelle, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Chairperson.
Can we start with
We'll take 3 or 4 from Cape Town. We'll start with Paul. Paul, go for it.
Morning, Minister. Paul Becchiato from Bloomberg. Just 2 questions. The Eskom fasting report, has that been presented to Cabinet, and has Cabinet deliberated on it yet? And the other report on land expropriation, has that been, when will that be released by Cabinet or the Minister? Thank you.
Number 2, Yang.
Thank you, Yang for Pretoria FM. Regarding the municipal elections, is this because of the problem with double voting in the election this year? Will you be looking at
Okay, Minister in the Presidency there, Jackson Mthembu, briefing the media on the outcomes of a cabinet meeting and on a wide range of issues, and saying, condemning the attacks on police officers. We understand, we've learned that 26 police officers have been killed in the line of duty this year so far. So shocking statistics there indeed. He also spoke about the 12th AU extraordinary session happening in Niger in about 2 weeks' time. The president will be attending this meeting, and the aim of the summit is to discuss the recently adopted African Continental Free Trade Area. So very important for the continent of Africa, in particular South Africa as well. He also spoke about the 2021 local government elections, saying that an interministerial committee has been set up in order to make sure that these elections run smoothly, and the number of ministers that make up the IMC include COCTA, Home Affairs, Justice, Finance, State Security, as well as the minister in the Presidency. He also spoke about the G20 Leadership Summit happening in Japan. The president, we're told, left last night for this all-important summit, and among the issues to be discussed is the US and China trade dispute, as well as the tensions, the simmering tensions between the United Nations and Iran, and the effects, the global consequences of that on countries like South Africa, for instance. So a whole range of issues being spoken about at this media briefing. More breaking news on the agenda's watch. Former Bosasa COO Angelo Agrizzi says he should have